Guffey Healthcare specializes in providing patients with the best inpatient rehabilitation and care, where sensitivity to individual patient needs combines with the full range of rehabilitative services, including physical, occupational, and speech therapies. We at Rehab First understand that successful rehabilitation requires not only a complete range of services, but must include the patient and family in the treatment process. At Rehab First, therapy is based on your individual needs, allowing you more one-on-one time with your therapist. The therapist works with the patient, doctors, and nurses to design the treatment program using a team approach. At Rehab First, our approach to healthcare incorporates up-to-date treatment techniques in a comfortable environment designed to maximize the recovery of each of our patients. Rehab First at McGuffey Healthcare is your first choice in helping you return home as soon as possible. We invite you to visit our community at 2301 Rainbow Drive in Gadsden, or give us a call at 256-543-3467. Rehab First, your place for rehab.
It's that time of the week. One more time. It's live, and it's in the interest of the people with Larry and Benny. They're going to make you laugh, and they'll even make you mad enough to chew nails. Either way, they have you tuned in. So sit back in that easy chair and get close to a phone, because you can call and talk to them. You better get you something to drink, because you may need it also. Take it away, guys.
Welcome. I'm Benny Green. I'm here with our host, Larry Barton. We got a show for you tonight. Larry?
Thank you, Mr. Benny. It's indeed an honor to be back with you. We have a special guest tonight, Dr. Terry Graham, President of Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind, and we'll be talking with Dr. Graham in just a little bit and letting him share with you some exciting news that we've just learned this week about the Institute. And he's also going to share with you about the operation of AIDB, how they take children from infant size all the way on up to whatever age, and they train them blind, visually impaired, deaf, hearing impaired, multi-handicapped, blind, deaf, mentally retarded, so forth, Helen Keller candidates, and so forth. And we're going to let Dr. Graham going to be talking about this. I've been here all my life, and I've had an opportunity to tour in the facility many, many times as mayor and when I was in banking. But it's amazing that the folks in our town know that we have a school here for the blind and the deaf and so forth. They've never been through it, and they really don't know that much about it. So we're hoping this would be not only beneficial but also educational tonight. We'll be talking with Dr. Graham in just a moment or two. We want to remind you that Stampede Restaurant, one of our sponsors, they'll be closed on the 2nd and 3rd. That'll be Tuesday and Wednesday of a week of July the 4th. They'll be closed on Tuesday, and they'll be open on Monday, but they'll be closed Tuesday and Wednesday so the help can have a little bit of time off. But Stampede Restaurant's open 7 days a week, breakfast, dinner, and supper. Some of the best meals you could possibly want. Breakfast, we've eaten up there a couple of times this past week. The bacon is so crisp that you can just look at it real strong and it'll just crumble in your plate. Eggs are fixed like you want them. They're not cooked a week ago and warmed up. They fry them when you come in and order what you want. Biscuits, gravy, whatever you want for breakfast, they've got it. Dinner, supper, Stampede has it all. You go by and see them and tell them you want to try one of those good meals. We were there today for lunch Sunday, and the place was just almost packed out. We appreciate everyone coming in and trading and keeping your money at home. We appreciate that. Also, we were in there today, in Stampede Restaurant Day. Miss Tina Brooks is 71, having a birthday. And she said she didn't care if you knowing how old she was. She's just proud to be here. She said, I never missed your program. And my longtime friend, Mr. Abraham Mathis, was in there, and he said he watches it. Also, I met a beautiful young lady. I mean, folks, all young ones are pretty. All young ones are beautiful. All young boys are handsome. You know, everybody's child is the best in the world, the prettiest. But I have to tell you, I met this young lady today. She's 8 years old, Olivia Brewster, and she could be a movie star. She is absolutely one of the most beautiful young ladies I have ever met. And she goes to school at Word Alive up at Coldwater. Kent Maddox is the pastor up there, and he's pastors there, and they also have a school. And Olivia Brewster, 8 years old, 3rd grade, is going to school there. And I promised Miss Olivia that I would give her a shout out. So hello, Miss Olivia, and hope you enjoy the program tonight. We was down at Gerald Lawler, Reverend Gerald Lawler's program today, his first pastor anniversary. He pastors in Childersburg. House was packed, and Miss Nikki Lawler from Talladega College and her husband, we honored them today. Great program, and we appreciate everyone that came out for that. Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church is having a rainbow tea. Mr. Ben, they had this last year. Did we ever decide what rainbow tea was?
No, never did.
We need to go over and see what that is. It's all colored teas or different kind of. I didn't know you had but one kind of tea.
Rainbow tea? I've never heard of that.
Anyway, Saturday, July the 14th, 5 p.m., rainbow tea, Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. Guest speaker will be Reverend George Millender, Associate Minister of New Hope United Methodist Church. This church over on Knox Street. Pastor Henry McGee is the pastor there. So you go out July the 14th, rainbow tea at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We had announced that we was going to have Lieutenant Colonel Keith on here a while tonight, but I got an email from him just before we came on the show, and he's not gotten back into town. This past week he's been busy helping get all the guards out where they got to go to for the next year, and we had an opportunity of visiting with them Thursday. Hunter, if you have the pictures that Danny Hubbard so graciously was there, and he got me some pictures. Folks, the crowd was awesome. We appreciate all the folks that turned out. There were several hundred people there to see the troops fixing to have to go off for a year. The families was there, and we can't thank these.
We need to show our appreciation for these fellows and their families.
Can't thank these men and women enough. They don't have to be in the Guard, folks. This is a volunteer situation, and they think enough of their country that we can be safe, that they will go and take time to serve and risk losing their life or the limbs and so forth. We can't thank them enough. And if Hunter, we can get those pictures up in just a few seconds, we can come back to it. There we go. This is the troops that are going to be leaving us for a year or so. And then in the background, you see there was, I'm telling you folks, there was hundreds of folks scattered all around the hill there. And there's another shot of it. I can't thank the folks enough for coming out. We really appreciate it. And we wish these men and women the best. Is that I believe that's the last picture we have of this. Also, this week, we had a chance to go out to Curry Court. They had a program there. You know, Mr. Benny owned these housing areas, Westgate, Knoxville Homes, Curry Court. A lot of time we hear about folks who live in what we call the projects, that there's nothing to them. They're just riffraff. They don't mean anything. This is an absolute lie.
Absolutely.
You've got some of the finest children, young people in these areas. They may not be there all the way by choice, but sometimes it's a necessity that they have to live here and have to be. If we got these pictures, Hunter, of Jerry Taylor spoke at this program. Here's a group of these young. There's Jerry Taylor. He's our building inspector, Talladega City building inspector. Did an awesome job. I never heard Jerry speak. There's Reverend McKinney and Jeff Ellison and myself having a light moment. You see a lot of folks in the background. But Mr. Benny, there was these young people right here. They were making the A honor roll, B honor roll. Never missed a day in school. Just awesome. Some of the things that they're accomplishing. There's the group of folks. There's Miss Nettie Goodwin in the front in the red coat. She's the director out there. Then, of course, there's some other folks. There's our clerk, city clerk, Miss Beth, in the right-hand side there. And all these other folks are connected with the Curry Court and the Housing Authority. We appreciate the awesome job they're doing, and all the parents are involved. A lot of them are single parents, single mothers, but they're taking care of their young ones. They're seeing they get an education, and that's what it's all about. Thank you, Hunter. We've got Dr. Graham, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Delighted
We've
to be
got a
with
lot
you.
of stuff going on.
We do indeed.
A lot of stuff going on, and a lot of it is due because of folks like you that's being involved in our community. Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind is our largest employer in the city and the second largest in the county.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
And we're going to be talking about that. I think we've got all the announcements out of the way. Talking about Chuck, Colonel Keith a while ago, I meant to tell you. While I was out there, I met a lot of folks. General Bowman, who used to be over the National Guards in the county, in the state. I used to cut his hair some in Birmingham. And he and Chuck and several other guys came up to me and said, we want to share with you, we understand you're open for business, and we want to share with you something other good. And they're fixing to spend $2.5 million renovating the National Guard Armory. They're going to enlarge it, going to take all the asbestos out of it. This lets me know that the National Guard facility in Talladega is here to stay, and that's good news for our area. He said that we can't take in all the folks who wants to join the Guards here in Talladega. We can't take them all in. Some places we can't get anyone to join, but Talladega is an exception. They've got a waiting list. So we'll be talking more about that a little later on. Dr. Graham, let's spend a little bit of time. We're going to have Dr. Graham for an hour with us. This is important. Now, we will take calls along toward the end of the program. I understand there's somebody from Anderson that wants to talk about a situation he's got, and we'll consider taking that call at the end of the program. But we're not going to get involved in any kind of controversial subjects with Dr. Graham on here. We got plenty of time for that later on.
Oh, he can handle it.
Well, sure he can, but we're not going to. He's not here for that. He's here to talk about Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind. We will point out that Mr. Jacobson, Walter Jacobson, will be with us next Sunday night. Mr. Jacobson is a council member of Sylacauga, and he's going to be running for mayor of Sylacauga along with several other folks. All you politicians, all you folks that wanting to be in office, all you folks in office wanting to keep your job, you're welcome to be on this program. Don't cost you anything. Just be willing to take the heat when these folks call in and ask you questions. We'll be nice to you. We'll be courtesy to you. We won't try to embarrass you. But now some of the folks that you're asking to vote for you may have a different opinion.
What if they have to stand on their record? Could that be embarrassing?
It could be.
Well, that wouldn't be our fault.
Could be. I've had to stand on mine a lot. Sometimes they hanging around my neck. But anyway, Mr. Jacobs will be with next week, and also Ralph Bradford from Anderson. He's running for mayor of Anderson. He's going to be with us. And if you've never met Ralph Bradford, you don't know what you're in for. Ralph is like me, except he's twice as bad. He just lays it on the line and gets with it. He's like a preacher that's already come to the pulpit fired up. He don't have to get wound up. He's already wound up. He'll be with us. Then the next Sunday, be the 8th of July, Miss Clara Curtis will be with us. She's running for mayor of Sylacauga. So anyone wanting to be on here that's running for office, let us know, and we'll be glad to line it up. Dr. Graham, let's talk about the Institute. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Mayor.
Tell us about Dr. Graham, how you got involved, where you come from, and what you've done through the years, and how you wound up in Talladega.
Well, first of all, AIDB is not about its president. I'm delighted to be there. It's an honor for me to be there, and I'm very pleased that the board continues to allow me to be a part of the leadership team at AIDB. But I've actually been at AIDB for almost 35 years, Mayor. And first of all, let me say thank you to Mr. Green for inviting me to be on the show tonight, because there's absolutely nothing more gratifying to me than to have an opportunity to share information about AIDB. And I'll go ahead and tell you up front, I'm very biased. I think AIDB is a world-class program, and I can tell you for certain that it's the nation's most comprehensive program serving people who are deaf and blind. But in terms of Terry Graham, I got started a long time ago, and Dr. Woodrow Elliott was president of AIDB, and I was living in the state of Mississippi and served on an advisory committee with him through the Southeastern Deaf-Blind Organization, and he invited me to come and interview and take a job as a principal of the old deaf-blind department back over on the McMillan Street.
Right.
So I've been involved in a lot of jobs. I've done just about everything at AIDB, and very pleased I've had the opportunity to be there all this time, and to see the Institute grow, and to know that it's making a difference in the lives of Alabama's deaf and blind citizens. When I say it's a comprehensive program, Mayor, I'm talking about starting with infants and toddlers, and we will identify some 600 infants and toddlers throughout the state of Alabama on an annual basis, and we will serve them through our network of regional centers, and we will have a program that will continue and extend all the way to senior citizens, people like me, who are beginning to lose their vision and hearing, baby boomers, and that's a major area of development for us right now. Senior citizens are losing their vision and hearing, and we're trying to work with them to ensure quality of life and to have the technology that they need to be continue to be successful and continue to have quality of life. So when I say there's a continuum, it starts with babies, sometimes in neonatal intensive care, right on through to senior citizens who have lost their vision and hearing due to aging problems and health problems.
In just a moment, we want to let Dr. Graham share with us how they contact, or how the folks contact the school for the deaf, blind, and how they let their son or daughter or whatever come to school here. We'll be sharing that in just a little bit. Hunter, if you've got the video of Jim Bob, we want to show you we had Jim Bob on our other program. It's Talladega recently, and since Dr. Graham was here, Jim Bob is a success story of the Institute. Let's show a little bit of Jim Bob here, and then we'll get back to Dr. Graham and go from there. Where you were born, how you wound up, you born blind,
right?
And how you wound up in Talladega, and what age?
Right. Well, some may have heard this before, and some may have not heard it, but it's always good to get not only my story out, but anybody. I want to tell my story someday to people. I don't know about how to write books or nothing like that, but if you got a story to tell, I think it should be told about how you can make triumph from tragedy. I was born in Wedowee, Alabama, January 28, 1970, in Wedowee Memorial Hospital, in the heart of Wedowee. And, you know, I was put in an incubator. Either it was that or die one, because and the oxygen, usually when you are in an incubator, the oxygen discolors your eyes. So my eyes, and I thank God every day that He give me, I'm not normal anyway, so He give me blue eyes, you know, light blue eyes, because normally your eyes would be either brown or whatever color that God can give them to you to be. But mine happened to be blue because of the discoloration of being in the incubator. And the doctor told my grandmother that shortly after I was born, he said, now, you know, you can take him to Children's Hospital in Birmingham, but it's not guaranteed he'll make it. It's not guaranteed he'll make it. And so there was a man that my grandmother worked for, a man and a lady named Jack and Sue Fincher. They lived in Wedowee, and my grandmother worked for them, and as a result of his act of faith, you know, I'm here today because he looked at the doctor and he said, well, we're going to take that chance. And I was very, very small anyway, being premature, so they loaded me up, and away to Birmingham we went, and I stayed in Birmingham for a little over a month. They had to do surgery on my eye, because as I found out, the oxygen burned a hole in my retina. My right eye got a hole in it, and I got my same eyeballs, but they had to take one of them out and put packing in the back of it, and then I had to wear a patch for a while, and they took patches off, and they determined that, you know, I was going to be blind anyway, so I believe that's what the incubator and the first doctors determined that anyway. But I stayed in there for about a month, and they brought me home.
Jim Bob, at what age did your folks, your guardian, your grandmother, whomever, at what age did they decide that you needed to come to Talladega?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. It was about, I heard about the school, or my grandmother heard about the school when I was, I believe it was about 3. And from a social worker said, well, you know, they got a place for people like him. And that's not being stereotypical, but that's just what it is. They got a place for people like him where he could grow and he can learn. And my grandma said, where is that? And they said, over in Talladega. It's called School for the Blind. And they said, well, we want to come and see. And we did a little tour. I believe we did a tour in '73. That's how some people know me for so long, but we did a tour in '73. I didn't start till the fall of '74, but we did a little tour in '73 and everything, and so we got to learn about the place. And then my grandmother said, "Yeah, this is where I think I know that he needs to go, so he can."
He was 3 years of age.
Well, I was 3 when I did the tour.
About 4 years of age.
Well, I was 4 when I started.
Jim, I have to. And Jim Bob, he's my buddy. And I picked him up I called him, I said, Jim Bob, you want to be on my TV program? He said, yeah. I said, you have a way down there? He said, no. I said, well, if you start walking now, that's a couple of days ago, I said, if you start walking now, you can be there in time for us to record the show. And he didn't like that idea. He said, it'd take me more than 2 days to get down to Silicotta.
No,
anyway.
I lost a lot of weight by then. I made him stop. See, I think I deserve this. I made him stop and get me, or did I? I bought the meal. No, he bought it. I made him stop and get me something at Jack's. I told him the fat boy got to eat.
I tell you what, I'm glad he ain't no bigger than he is, folks. I couldn't afford it. He walks up to the counter, and I thought he was ordering for the whole restaurant, not just one person. Yeah. He put away a Big Mac, a Big Coke, a salmon roll.
Yeah, he said, I don't want to buy the whole restaurant. I said, you just buying for me.
Yeah. But anyway, let's go back. When you say about 4 years of age,
right.
I can't imagine, and I can't comprehend how it would be for a 4-year-old child, a boy or a young person, to be taken away from his family, his grandmother, his mother, whomever, and brought into an environment, knows no one, and say, he's yours. Take him and do whatever you will. That's a little crude, but that's basically what they said. He's yours. Do what you can. I know at 4 years of age, you don't, I guess you adjust pretty well, but this had to affect you some way.
A lot. Yeah, you leave the comfort of home.
Know where everything is.
Know where everything is. Even though you're not seeing, but you know where everything is, and you know all your people, you know all your surroundings, and then all of a sudden just are snatched out of it, just like that.
Right.
But it was for the best. Let me tell you, I listened to a preacher say one time, there is no crown without a cross.
Right.
There is no daytime without a dark night. There is no winter without a struggle or a fight. And there is not. There is not.
Well, you've done well through the years, but as you progressed, you went into, was it kindergarten, I guess, at age 4?
I did, and I'm going to get into that. Let me tell you, it was really, and I'm not the only one. There were several, and I know several people who were put in this, and they cried. I cried a lot. I mean, because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know where I knew I was in an environment that were, they were different people, but they were some like me, but I didn't know them at first, and it was rough. I cried a lot, and there were people who were there to comfort me, to let me know everything was okay and that they loved me, but I didn't want to hear that at the time. I wanted to go home.
Right.
So unless somebody has to experience some kind of pain like that, but you don't know how well it can work out for you good later on. I didn't realize that at the time.
Doc, this is a success story. Everybody in this area knows Jim Bob. You've known him.
I've known him for
from the time
years.
He came to school there.
Absolutely. I knew him when he was at the Alabama School for the Blind. I'm glad you shared that story, because a lot of parents have had to go through that process. And I'm glad that Jim Bob made that decision, glad that his parents made a decision for him to attend the Alabama School for the Blind, because he has been a success story. You know, he's a talented musician, ended up graduating from the Alabama School for the Blind, and then ended up successfully employed at the Alabama Industries for the Blind, and worked there for a lot of years and retired. But I think it's good to share that story, because I've heard that story thousands of times. Parents have to make that decision. They learn that they have a child with a disability. Sometimes they learn when a child is a baby. Didn't necessarily expect to have a child with a disability. Never really thought about the decision-making process that they would have to go through. But they discovered that their child is deaf or blind, or maybe deaf or blind with some other concomitant disability, and then they're faced with making a decision. What am I going to do? Where are they going to go to school? Will they go to public school? Will they go to the Alabama School for the Deaf and Blind? What do we do? They're frustrated. And that's one of the things that we try to do in the state now, is through our network of regional centers, is to identify these children when they're very young, work with the parents, make certain the parents know about the resources available in the community. And there are a lot of resources out there. We want to make certain that they know about the Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind and know that it's a viable option for their child to go to school there. But if you take blind children and deaf children, especially deaf children, they need to be immersed in language as early as possible. So we work with the parents to make certain that they can work with a child in the home, developing their language, getting them ready to go to public school, getting them ready to go to the Alabama School for the Blind or the Alabama School for the Deaf, because the earlier they get started, the more successful they're going to be when they get into public school. They're going to be delayed academically if we don't get started with them early. But let me go back to Jim Bob. Jim Bob is a success story. But parents have to make that decision. And hopefully we can help them, we can assist them in making the decision that's best for them. Sometimes that will be for them to come to Talladega. Sometimes it will be they'll be able to receive services at home. But we are actively involved from day one to help parents feel that they're not alone. That's a lonely feeling, Mayor. When you find out that you have a child with a disability, sometimes it's not what you expected. Sometimes it's heartbreaking. It's hard to adjust to it. They need someone to help. They need someone that can guide them.
I can't comprehend how a parent that's got a newborn would have to give it away. That's what it amounts to. They're giving their baby away to you or to your staff.
What's best for the baby?
I know, but I just can't comprehend. First of all, I can't comprehend being blind or blind, deaf, or mentally like Helen Keller students. It's just awesome how you guys can take an infant, especially how you can take a deaf and blind, multi-handicapped person, and train that person to talk. And we had a guy in Talladega, Eugene Pennington.
Right, I remember.
Blind, deaf, walked the streets, owned his home, just worked out the industry for blind, made mops, or brooms, I believe it was. You guys are awesome.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but it is a tough decision, and I respect what parents have to go through. But I think it's a good choice to send their child to the School for the Blind and School for the Deaf, because we're going to keep them in touch with their families. I don't know what it would be like myself. You know, I've been at AIDB for a lot of years.
You worked at Helen Keller.
I worked at Helen Keller. I've spent my entire life working with people with disabilities. I have children. But I've never had to face that decision. I know it's got to be a really difficult choice. But I admire and respect parents when they make the decision that they think is going to be in the best interest of their child. And for me, I've watched children enroll at AIDB for a lot of years now and end up being successful like Jim Bob, or as far as that's Jeff Lane, a graduate of the Helen Keller School of Alabama. I think he is a wonderful success story. Graduated there, got a job at the Alabama Industries for the Blind.
Still working there.
Still working, got same employee benefits.
Got a birthday on the 29th of this month.
Right, well, happy birthday to Jeff. Thank the world of Jeff, but he is a wonderful success story. We have graduates of the Alabama School for the Blind that will be going to colleges throughout the state. This year at the Alabama School for the Deaf, we awarded the most scholarships that we've ever awarded in our history. Outstanding, intelligent, deaf people who will be going to college, and many of them will be going to Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C. But we have the full continuum, you know, that we'll be going directly to work, those that will be going on to college, and many of them may end up working at the Alabama Industries for the Blind. And I hope a little later on in the program we'll be able to talk about the Alabama Industries for the Blind, because that is a flagship program.
Also, we have some videos we're going to be showing you, and also we're going to talk about what the Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind means economically to our area. Before we got to go to a break in just a moment. Is this a politician on the phone?
You know, I was around and said something about me.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff.
This person went around when I graduated from the Helen Keller School.
Jeff.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Back up about 2 feet.
Okay.
Another foot.
I'm in the kitchen now.
Well, move the phone back 2 feet. Move your phone back. You're coming in just a little bit loud. We can hear you good. Talk just a little. You're doing good. There you go.
Now, what I was saying is when Dr. Graham said something to me about my birthday's coming up June 29th, that way, you know?
Yeah.
And so, as I was thinking of it, I'll be turning 42 this year.
42.
And now, what I'm saying, what Dr. Graham said something, when I graduated from the Helen Keller School of Alabama, he was my speaker at graduation.
How about that? So you put in a good word for Dr. Graham?
You know what I'm talking about, right, Dr. Graham?
Said you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, Jeff, I remember I was the graduation speaker when you graduated, and I was very proud of you. I'm still proud of you.
On this situation, on this comment, whatever there is to this, and we have to concentrate on what I've been through. Well, I've been through the Helen Keller School of Alabama. I was a good athlete too. I know you know about this too, and I do, Dr. Graham, but you can bring out that too also during this situation. Keller School in Alabama.
Jeff, I appreciate you calling. We're going to let Dr. Graham talk in just a little bit. We'll talk about some more, okay? Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Happy birthday.
Jeff is a success story, Mayor, and I love to see him in our community. You know, he's got his home, he's got a job.
Owns his home?
Owns his own home.
Yeah.
You know, what more can you ask for? He's independent, and I think it comes as a result of the good leadership of the folks at the Helen Keller School and AIDB that's kind of helped him. But he also gets support